Hey guys, welcome to the Listen to Portraits channel. I'm Joshua De La Victoria, and I'm here with Joseph Anager.
Hello, everyone.
So we released our new song, Drip. Hope you guys are enjoying it. And we thought it would be a cool idea to kind of go explore the session that we recorded and just talk through maybe different ideas that we had and kind of how the song came together. Joseph here has the whole Logic session kind of in front of him. I guess we're just going to kind of do this piece by piece.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here's the Logic session. This is going to be cool because Josh hasn't seen any of these since I started mixing. So he will either think I'm incredibly disorganized or weirdly organized.
Maybe we should just touch on how these sessions worked.
Right. So generally we kind of did really, really heavy demos for all the songs. And then once the song is written and produced, let's say, you kind of go in and retrack everything. And then the mixing session, which is what we're looking at now, is a separate thing. So everything in this session is sort of clean and finalized, and there's no takes, and it's not a demo. It's not a mess of a demo session. It's a very organized mixing session. That's how I organize it in my head, or else I would get no work done.
Yeah, the demo sessions are just madness sometimes.
It's terrible.
With the genre, there's so much of writing as you're recording. And so you're trying out a bunch of different things. And then something you like to do that I've noticed is you'll write a whole section and then move it to the end of the session and be like, oh, maybe I'll use that later.
Yeah, I'll have an idea and I'm just well, this just doesn't fit. So instead of deleting it, I just move it for later use maybe. So I'll have whole songs, and then at the end of the session, there'll be alternate sections that didn't make it. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of sad also because sometimes those sections are kind of cool and they fit within the universe of the song, but I can't fit them in the song. So they never end up anywhere.
It's really helpful when you're writing with other people, because there was even a section in a different song where you kind of didn't know where to go with it, but then you showed me some of the ending parts, and then we figured out a way to use one of them in the song.
Yeah, sometimes I'll write a part and it will feel like an ending or a bridge or something, and then I kind of have to work myself up to it. Well, Drip actually, to bring it all back to this tune, Drip is one of the rare songs that I wrote in order. And I guess I should also mention Drip is a song that I brought to this project as a sort of half-finished tune that then Josh added parts to. This is one of the songs that was sort of brought on later that I wrote in 2020. And actually, I have a video from 2020 when I talk about programmed drums, and it's this song. So it's kind of... We finally made it. This song is finally out.
Yeah, it took a minute. I remember you showing me this years ago.
Yeah. So, we finally make it. But yeah, so this song, I kind of, especially the first verse and chorus were kind of written, wouldn't it be cool if we did punches here, punches there? And then I would kind of work on a little bit of the melody and kind of write 10 seconds, 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked out. And I remember not being sure about the ending and then editing it on later in that sort of way where I would have an ending on the side and then I kind of had to figure out a transition for it. But usually my writing process is a lot messier and a lot of, it's like a puzzle. I'm trying to make pieces fit.
Why don't you play the beginning part of the song and then kind of break down what's happening and maybe the story behind writing that part?
Yeah, I'll play the first 16 bars or something, and then we can talk about it, and maybe we could go through different elements. Mm-hmm. Talk about the drums, bass, and guitar or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's. Yeah, so it's very, kind of hectic, lots of punches. And if I open the bass or something, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. These are, very sort of syncopated 16th notes. punch ideas between the kick bass and the rhythm guitars, which this is what, this sort of. So,
Yeah.
very fun, upbeat thing.
Dude, bless Troy Wright for
Oh
learning
my
all
God,
this
Troy
stuff
Wright, please. Thank you very much.
and making
my
it like
God.
actually a drum part.
Yeah, the Troy Wright is the savior of this project. But yeah, and then so I was trying to write like a really syncopated thing, and then I was sort of tying it all together with the melody. It kind of worked out.
It's like syncopated dad rock.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I keep telling people. It's like, this is the dad rock song, but then it's like the most technical dad rock song in existence.
Like parts of it remind me of like Allman Brothers, especially that chorus melody.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like-
the chorus.
With the harmony, I'm like, oh, this is Allman Brothers.
Oh yeah, the harmony's hilarious, dude. It's where is it? Let me play it. Where's the chorus? Here we go. Yeah, it's just a happy track, It's just I'm just trying to have a good time.
So you tracked all the rhythm guitars for that first verse, and then I think I did the chorus.
That is correct. And actually, you don't know this because you haven't seen these sessions, but throughout all the songs, I kind of color-coded you and I differently. So everything that's green right now is Josh, and I'm in blue. I think that might have not stayed consistent throughout the different songs of the project, but in this project, that's what's happening.
Right. Yeah. So all of these are DIs, and we're tracking through neural.
And I kind of had to match the DIs to then apply a similar processing workflow for the tones. So like, let's say, because the way you tracked your DIs, it just happened to be this way, but you tracked them a lot hotter than me. Mm-hmm. So I ended up sort of gain matching your DIs. I think everything that you gave me, I sort of, if you see this right here, this minus 7 decibel things, because all your DIs were kind of like really hot. So I kind of gained them down to match mine so that I could paste my settings and then adjust from there with the archetype stuff.
And like that gain really affects how the archetype plugins react.
Absolutely, because you'd just be hitting the input of the amp a bit hotter or softer, right? So. Right, I don't want this to be much higher gain than. Right, so it's same amp, same cab, and then the only differences would be the guitar that we're using.
Right. So what guitar did you use on this song?
Mostly I used the iconic Solana, and I think there might have been some leads where I used my Sir because it's extra spanky and I wanted like the extra level of clank,
Right. Yeah. This is like the strattiest sounding song ever.
This is the spankiest song of the past decade. What about you?
This one I only used the Solana, yeah. Because, I mean, it fit the song so well. There's other songs where I started kind of branching out into like, other guitars I don't use as often. This one I felt really needed that. And then I also have like 2 sections where I added acoustic guitar.
Oh yeah, the bane of my existence. I hate mixing acoustic guitar. Right here also, this one sounded a bit different. I also had to edit the shit out of this. There was a weird punch. There was a mistake, Josh, and I edited it. I'm sorry.
Well, this was from the demo, and then I just never redid it.
It's true. That is correct. Yeah, it was this punch on the upbeat. I had to move it. Yeah. No, but it was cool. It does add a little sparkle to the whole part. If I mute the leads for a second, so you guys can hear like the rhythmic guitars with the acoustic and without.
Maybe do it. So do it with and without.
Yeah. So here's without. So that was without. Then if I bring it in, you'll notice like a little bit of high-end sheen in the left and right, which is the acoustic. Yeah, it's like a subtle, like, here, I'll mute it and unmute it while it's playing and you'll really hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's kind of a little thing like up there in the stereo field. And I think these are saturated to fuck. Oh yeah, these are slammed, bro.
Yeah, and that was recorded with my my Taylor, the AD22E, which is like a small body Taylor, which is definitely my favorite style of guitar.
Yeah, it sounds great. Like in the past, I've had trouble fitting those acoustic guitars over electric guitars. I find it's always like I only get the string noise in the top end.
Right.
But because it's a smaller body guitar and because I saturated the fuck out of it, I think I'm getting a lot of mid-range information too, it's kind of gluing the whole thing very nicely.
Yeah, so that chorus part, I mean, even though I recorded the rhythm, I didn't write that part at all. I think I just asked you what to play. We had to get all these songs tracked, and so we just kind of split stuff up.
Yeah, there's some strategic delegation of who was going to record what, and it kind of worked out. We got it done. Like, that's just how it goes, you know? Like, and also it gives a bit more variation that like you're playing one part, I'm playing the other part. It's like a subtle little, almost imperceivable like flow change between the two guitar parts. Because we have, even though like the rhythm guitars are sort of like square rhythm guitar parts, we kind of have a little bit of a different feel with them. So it's a nice touch.
Yeah. So this next part, the second verse, I wrote the solo. I forget what used to be here in like the demo.
Yeah. Well, when I pitched this song to you, there was some stuff there and later in the interludes and the bigger solo section that I was not happy with, and that I was just like, hey Josh, take this and make it your own, like in the same way that I kind of played a verse in a solo, like play your verse there, because that's the theme with this whole project, is we kind of trade off sections like we're rappers, right? Like we're spitting verses, you know, this is your verse and this is my verse, like
right. Well, whilst it all trying to also be cohesive, so we didn't want it to be like two completely different freaking things happening. I was trying to build off the verse that you did, where you have that that little like motif at the beginning, I guess, the da 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 da, that thing. So I kind of used that as a jumping off point. And then for the verse and then the solo that I do later in the song, for this song, it was very much based on hitting those accents.
Yeah, so I can play that verse and then we can move on to the solo if you want. There's so much harmony here.
Yeah, I think we should talk about that.
Yeah, and I should. Yeah, before we go to the solo, we'll definitely talk about some harmonies. I'm actually going to play it again, but soloed now, I think.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I'm going to do that now. But just so people know what they're looking at. So this is the main lead. This is the octave. This is something, but it's down the middle under the main lead. And then everything else is left and right.
Yeah.
At different levels or the same levels. Yes, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff
ridiculous.
happening. It's a lot of stuff, Josh. And then every time you sent me this, I was like, man, I have to do so many harmonies just to match the intensity of what Josh just gave me.
I like the idea of just stacking harmony after harmony and then panning them all.
So I kind of mixed them in a similar fashion, just at different levels. Maybe the gain ended up being different, but it kind of worked out to be like the same tone. And then maybe I had to EQ some low end out of the lower harmonies. But yeah, so you like lots of harmonies. Is there any other thing that you think of when you do all these harmonies? Because that's like a big part of your sound, I think. It's definitely the reason why I do it now is definitely because I've seen you do it for so long now.
I think on this project, I definitely went harder in that than I ever have before. And then with this song specifically, I liked how it sounded when I would hit a harmony just on like some of the accents, right? Which like you can hear that at kind of the end of that verse. I'm not playing the whole line as the harmony. I'm just hitting certain notes. It's like doubling down on like, I know these are the accents I'm very, very intentional with. These are the accents I want to hit.
It's a really, really cool sound, and you do it again in your solo later, like in the middle section. That's a really, really cool moment. It kind of builds the intensity really nicely.
Do you want to go over the parts before the solo?
Yeah. So okay. So let's take it. Let's go. Let's pace ourselves. So we just talked about the verse 2, which was your verse. After that verse, I kind of go into a solo. I remember writing the rhythm parts for that solo and just trying to do the most annoying thing possible.
Dude,
which Josh
the rhythms for this solo like make me want to freaking jump off a cliff. I don't know what it is.
I'll play it right now. I'll play the solo section, the Joseph solo without the solo, just so people can like hear what's happening. And I don't know, like I was saying earlier, like I wrote this song like sort of one bit at a time. So I was trying to get the punches to just hit a certain way as I wrote them, like one by one. Right, so I would write like 2 punches and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I would keep going and try to keep that intensity of how the punches would be hitting the listener going. And I kind of also messed around with like a fake metric modulation that I tease and then I go to it only later. And even Troy was annoyed at this part.
No shit.
Yeah, let me play it. And just so people, have even more visual cues, this MIDI right here is MIDI of the kick and snare just for the snare rooms. Just so people are they know what they're looking at. These are also where the punches are, right? The kick and snare punches. So anyway, so let me play that section without the guitar solo. Yeah, so that's so this is like 16 bars, right? So that third phrase of 4 bars right here is where I have that fake metric modulation happen. So I'll play it again, like. So it's like, it goes there for like half a second, then we go back to 4/4, and then afterwards we fully go to that, I guess it's a dotted 8th note feel change. Right here. It's dumb. Like, it's dumb, but it kind of made it really interesting, and I thought like it made the solo even more interesting as well to have this sort of really punchy thing happen throughout. Yeah, and I can play with the solo now too. I think the solo is also mostly the same from when I had that demo like 3 years ago, except I think I changed one of the lines because I didn't like the melodic minor sound I was using at the time now, so I changed it to more of an altered thing, but that's boring music theory shit, but that's kind of mostly the same.
I really like that part where the rhythm's doing like those hybrid picking, like this chord arpeggio stuff. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
maybe also highlight what the bass is doing on that, because I feel like he's doing some crazy shit.
Oh yeah, thank you, Jacob. Thank you,
Jacob Umansky.
Yeah. What a sicko. What a sick fuck. What a piece of garbage. Oh my god. It's very classy.
It works
very
so
classy.
well. That's sick.
It works very well. Thank you, Jacob. But yeah, so next up after that, I mean, tone-wise, like me and Josh had like similar things going more or less. I think I kind of stuck with this amp for more of my sounds than you. I think I switched you to the Tim Henson archetype more often because I know you liked that. I stuck to that Nolly JCM 800 thing a lot because it's the best thing ever. But also like I kind of did this a lot.
So what are you doing here?
So like most of my sounds, most of my tones, I think I might have done this for you too at some points, but I know what this pedal is in real life. It's the Bogner Harlow, 100%. Neural DSP is like knocking on my door right now, but this is definitely that pedal, and that pedal into everything makes everything better. So it's like a compressor boost thing. So I kind of just have that on into this JCM 800 thing. I can just show you what it sounds like. So that's everything. If I bypass it, so it's a little bit less gain. Obviously, I can make up for that with output, but the thing that the Bogner Harlow does is just a little bit magical. So anyways, I wanted that. So that's kind of my tone for most of the stuff. I think you are more of a minimalist thing going where it's the Tim Henson with the compressor, but I just really wanted that Bogner Harlow, and my computer can handle it, so why not? You know, stack archetype plugins for days. You know, like if we're just being real for a second, like this plugin workflow was the only way we were going to do this in a streamlined way without hating ourselves, because tracking tones between California and Canada was not going to happen. So the only way I could do this is we were just talking about DIs, and then I would match our DI levels and then use plugins. It was the only way.
Yeah, as much as I would like to use real amps and all that, it would make things much more difficult. It would make things
a lot more difficult, and if we were to use real amps, we would have to have a whole reamp day where we would do the whole album together and just like go through it and sort of commit to tones. In this way, like if I do something and you don't like it, I could switch it, which is another layer of flexibility, which is cool when we're not, we're working on this project in different cities. We have to work in a level of flexibility, or else there's a lot of issues that could come up.
The neural stuff just makes life a bit easier, and it still sounds great.
But yeah, moving on to this interlude, I forgot how I came up with this part because it was so long ago, but it just really makes the song kind of a little bit more fun. Interesting fact about this, these rhythms, all the rhythms for this part, the crushed ones and the real ones, they're all from the demo because I couldn't really get the sound to be the same when I tracked it.
So that was with your Sir then, huh?
That was with my Sir and with my real amp, because when I tracked the demo, I tracked it with the real amp. So there's actually a sneaky real amp track in these songs. But it's not just this, because what I did is I tracked the chord. I did like a bam, bam, and then I pasted them left and right so they're the same thing. So these are all the same. Every hit is the same between the left and then the right. So it gives it a little bit of a... See what I'm saying?
It's like an artificial
gives it like a little bit of a
sound.
Yeah, it's a little bit surreal. So obviously during the bit crushed part, it gives it that weird robotic sound. And then keeping that sound going, I thought tied the part together when the whole band comes back in. So if I just mute your solo just for a second... It has this sort of robot-y thing going, I think.
Yeah, which I love that kind of stuff. Like, I wanted a lot of this to be like weird production stuff and like not typical proggy things, I guess.
Yeah, this is definitely not the weirdest thing we've done, but this is just something that kind of happened when I wrote the song, and it just kind of carried through until the final project, which is cool. And luckily, the tone worked. But anyways, yeah, so... Back to your solo. This solo is fucking sick. This solo made this song for me. Like I had a really bad solo here, and then I was like, Josh, like let's do the work on this song together. Like take this solo section, make it sick, and he made it sick. So yeah, it's a great solo. I really enjoy it. It's got all the stuff.
Thanks.
I love this solo. It's so sick.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so kind of like I was saying before, a lot of the inspiration of this came from playing around the rhythm parts. There's a lot of very intentional accents that I'm hitting, accents that I'm playing like around them. And so kind of my process for the solo was doing it like little pieces at a time. That was in the demo. And then when we retracked everything, I did it all at once.
My favorite part of this is how you do like your little subtle time thing at the very end.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that.
Talk about that.
Because I wanted to be annoying and because I can. The ending is all in triplets until it gets to a certain section where I'm playing 7/5. In the song, you're accenting fives at that last part. And I was like, I'm just going to put sevens here. So because you broke it down as like, I think 3/2. And so then I went 4/3.
Yeah, makes sense. I can play it real quick so people know what we're talking about.
Right here.
Yeah, so it's like triplets here. And right on that downbeat, it's like da, 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 da. Yep. And then instead of doing ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta, you're doing ta-ka-ta-ka-ta-ka-ta, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's awesome is that rate of the 7/5 and the rate of triplets is close. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough to where you can't really tell that I'm switching to that. It just sounds like I'm like triplets. But if you actually just played triplets through it, it wouldn't line up the same.
That's why it's so cool. I'll play it again. And actually, I can slow it down if people want to.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just like to really hear where the punches are happening. It happens right here on beat 3 of bar 64. That's where the switch happens.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, Josh. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Big nerd move, but it's
for sure.
worth it.
I had to throw it in. I just had to, There's a moment where I can do this, so I'm going to do it. Also, just wanted to point out my little pickup jazz lick at the beginning where I'm doing double stops.
So good.
I was just like, what's the strattiest thing I could
absolutely.
play?
After that, we have a little bit crush section. It was similar to the demo, but this is way more refined than what happened in the demo there.
Yeah.
These are just samples from Troy Wright's drum set. These are like the same drums, and then they're like treated in some sort of way.
I also, when I did that, I also added some other, there's like some weird clicky things that I added.
Some hi-hats and some stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, from just like sample packs. And then you just like bit crushed the hell out of them and made them sound super lo-fi.
And then the band comes back in. There's that second acoustic guitar we were talking about.
Dude,
yeah, great
drum fill.
Great drum fill.
Crazy.
Great drum fill. Thank you, Troy. Once again, thank you, Troy.
Can you just solo that?
Thank you, Troy. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Troy.
And that was all recorded like in his own studio.
Yeah, which is great. We talked about this in the other podcast, but the fact that he just tracked himself is actually like a godsend. Yeah, so then we go into a chorus. Same thing as the other chorus.
Yeah.
Because I know how to arrange songs, I'm a learned man, and I put the chorus back after the solos,
Right, yeah.
And we have another verse that's slightly different.
The verse is like very similar to the other one.
There's just a slight line, and this is actually where I did a sneaky guitar switch. I can actually point it out. I did a sneaky guitar switch right for this line here. I don't know why. I was having a weird day and I just kind of tracked this on the Sir and then I kind of forgot about it. And so now it's in the same DI as my other guitar. So no one knows. It's the same tone, but it's like such a... Like, as if you're going to notice that it's a different guitar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, it sounds
close.
slightly different, but it's so close that, yeah.
It's very close. It's very close. So I think that's kind of my mistake, but that's where that Sir happens. And then, yeah, so that's the second verse. And then we kind of go into this disgusting part. I wanted this part to be like the craziest spanky split coil high gain thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked out, especially because you kind of layered some 8-string stuff here.
I did.
Which was very interesting, and it kind of worked out really well. So if I just play it without the lead... Yeah, so this whole part is kind of gross, and then the 8 strings come in halfway through. I also have this weird, stupid fucking...
Can you talk about what that is?
It's not anything. It's just me going... Bah, 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 bah.
I think it's funny how well it works.
This is also from the demo.
And it's not in time, right?
It might be, somewhat in time, but I'm not thinking about this being in time. And then, yeah, we got left and right stuff happening here. Yeah, this tone is huge.
Yeah.
And then the 8 strings come in also. Very nice. What did I do here? Oh, yeah. I think this is the only place where this is the only place I used this amp, I think. It just kind of fit. And then here, this is also one of the only places I actually used this amp. There's like 3 places on the album where I used this amp. But it worked really well. Yeah, that's the song.
Yeah. So I noticed that this song is definitely the least synth heavy. I don't know if there are any synths.
There's some sneaky stuff that is left over from the demo again, but this song is definitely the least synth-heavy song we have. There's some stuff, but look at all the stuff that's muted.
Yeah.
That I had in the demo. There's these little bells that I ended up liking. Like just counter harmonies. Yeah. It doesn't even match the lead some of the time, like stuff like this. And here also during the interludes.
Right.
And we kind of moved away from a lot of these sounds in the other songs, but this song has been written for so long that the sounds just made sense. What the hell is this? I just have one piano hit just for no reason. That's so stupid. I can't believe I left that in. Yeah, and then there's just way too many reverse cymbals. There's actually the best reverse cymbals I've ever done in my entire life right here. Because it doesn't go to the downbeat.
And then are these cymbals like from did you make these or are they Troy's?
So you could see this one is muted because I'm pretty sure this one was a GGG cymbals that I had left over when I imported stuff from demos. This is Troy's cymbals. And I think this is something I made like a long, long time ago. It might be a fake snare. I forget. But it just works really well and is like kind of scooped. So I've been using it in a lot of different places. And I find like in general, like stacking the cymbal and the reverse snare is kind of the ideal thing. This sort of sound kind of gives it a lot of balls. So that's kind of the track.
I feel like this was the most straightforward one. Like this is all just guitar. This is very much a rock song. And then another thing is that this song felt pretty straightforward since you already had you had it so demoed out already when you brought it into the project. So for me, it felt pretty straightforward. The other songs were much more collaborative.
Yeah, there's a lot more magic stuff in the other tracks. This one is definitely this is also the first mix that I did from this album. This is the one I started to sort of like dial in like the drums and sort of decide like relative levels of things. And then I kind of applied that template, let's say, to the other tracks.
Yeah, man. I guess everybody go stream the song on Spotify.
Yes, please stream the song. Tell your friends.
Add it to your playlist.
We're recording this a bit earlier than you think, so we don't know what's available, but we will pin links to all the assets, whether we have stuff available or not. So check the description for anything affiliated with the song to check out if you're so inclined. But other than that, is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, follow our band Instagram and our YouTube channel.
Yeah, so to close off, like this channel, Listen to Portraits, please subscribe to it. We are on Instagram, Listen to Portraits, and we're also going to be on Facebook. Me and Josh also have our individual channels and our Instagram channels. Mine is at Joseph_is_rad, and yours is
Josh Dela, JOSHDELA.
All right, everything's gonna be linked in the description, anyways. And so stay tuned. We're gonna drop more songs, and we'll have more of these session deep dives in the future.
And like, leave any questions in the comments, and I'm sure we'll get around to kind of like going through them and answering maybe the most asked ones.
Thank you for watching.
Yes.
We'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.